I am not gonna share the most popular suburbs of Austin, Texas with you. Nope. But what I am gonna share with you is my personal opinion of the 7 best suburbs of Austin. And every area on this list has to have one very important characteristic in common, and that is I, Barrett Raven, have to like it. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I'm not kidding, but in addition to that, each one of these areas has a combination of great schools, lifestyle, space, and long-term value. And look, a lot of people love these areas, but a lot of people also really hate these areas. So watch this all the way through and let us know which area resonates most with you. Let's get into it. Now, I wanted to say I was not listing these 7 suburbs in any particular order, but it just so happens that the first suburb on my list, all cards out on the table, is my favorite suburb of Austin, and that would be Georgetown. Okay, so here's the deal with Georgetown. Georgetown is north of Austin. I'd say it's about 30 to 40 minutes north of downtown Austin, and Georgetown has a lot of really great historic charm. Like the downtown of Georgetown is amazing. Aaron and I have actually spent a decent amount of time there, and every time I go there, I'm like, this is freaking awesome. It kind of reminds me of 6th Street in Austin, like it probably was back in the 60s, 70s, 80s. It is super charming, a lot of great local retail boutique shops and cafes, restaurants, bars, things like that. And like, I've actually been there at night, and there are like kids running around all over the town square. Like, it's really wholesome, it's really family friendly, it's really lively, and it has a great kind of nightlife if that's something that you're looking for. Now, another thing about Georgetown is that a lot of people who live there really love the outdoors. So you've got the San Gabriel River that runs right through the middle of town. You've also got Lake Georgetown, and Aaron and I have been out there filming in Lake Georgetown. And like, when you're out there, it really feels like a high elevation, high mountain lake. You're like, you get there, it's super convenient, but you're like, there's nothing around. You can't hardly see any houses, any residences, any structures, nothing. And you're just like, this is just like chill, peaceful tranquility. Am I right, Aaron?
It's true.
Boom.
It's very quiet.
Very quiet. Something else that's just kind of like part of the culture of Georgetown is that historically Georgetown was seen as like almost like a senior living community. There's a couple of really premier, popular 55 plus communities. It's definitely no longer seen as that. Like, Georgetown is seen as a place where younger people, younger families go to just grow their family. In Georgetown, you get a lot of perks of having those 55 plus communities there, because there are a lot of people in town who really care a lot about the community. They care about keeping it clean, presentable. So yeah, if that's something that resonates with you, you want to be in a nice, outdoorsy, clean community, then Georgetown is probably going to be a pretty good fit for you. And the home prices there are a heck of a lot more affordable than in central Austin. Now, something that you're going to want to keep in mind if you're thinking about moving to Georgetown is if you're going to move to Georgetown, you need to be a Georgetown person. Don't think of yourself as being an Austin person who lives in Georgetown. Like, if the rhythms of your life are in Austin, you're probably going to be pretty miserable in Georgetown, because to commute to Austin, you kind of have to get on I-35 in and out of town. And it totally sucks, and you're gonna hate your life. But if you move to Georgetown and you're like, this is my spot, this is my community, this is where I'm gonna invest in my life, you are probably gonna love it. Number 2 on the list is Dripping Springs. So Dripping Springs is about 25 to 30 miles west of Austin, okay? And very similar to Georgetown, if you're gonna live in Dripping Springs, you really need to live in Dripping Springs. So Dripping Springs is definitely gonna be like your entrance into the full-on hill country. So a lot of people love going out there because they want to have a great view, they want to have a big lot, they want to be able to spread out and just do life slow, okay? Speaking of which, also very similar to Georgetown, Dripping Springs has a few like really great premier, kind of more luxury master plan communities like Calaterra and Headwaters. Another reason a lot of people are obsessed with Dripping Springs are that you definitely have some breweries and wineries and kind of whiskey distilleries out there, but you're really close to, like, you know, Driftwood, Wimberley, some of these areas that just have like massive wineries and breweries and things like that. And you're honestly touching distance to Fredericksburg at that point, which Fredericksburg is like the freaking Napa Valley of Texas. And so a lot of people love having access to that true Texas hill country lifestyle. Now, for those of you who are considering moving out to Dripping Springs, it could be really great, but I'm gonna give you two kind of buyer warnings. The first one is about the commute. Like I said, if you're gonna be in Dripping Springs, you kind of wanna do life in Dripping Springs, but there's no two ways about it, no pun intended. Most people who live out there are commuting in and out of Austin at some capacity, right? And so you have to go in and out of Austin via Highway 290. And I'm telling you, I went out to Fredericksburg this past weekend with my family and we were on Highway 290, and I am not kidding you, it took us over an hour to get from Austin to Dripping Springs. And it was because there was one wreck, and it wasn't even that bad. It was like a fender bender, and it took us forever to get to Dripping Springs. So that can be infuriating. They're doing a lot of work on it right now, but it's probably not gonna be done for several years. So it's something that you're gonna wanna keep in mind. Now, the second thing, this might be a little bit controversial. If you go out and research this on the internet, you're probably gonna see that Dripping Springs has like really amazing schools, award-winning schools, and this and that. However, I'm gonna tell you from my client's perspective, they have found the schools to be pretty mid, if I'm honest. Like, they thought they were going out and having these amazing world-class schools, and they got there and they were like, man, like our schools were kind of better where we came from. So all that to say, the school ratings and the actual school experience can have a little bit of a disconnect. Some people have great experiences, but a lot of people that I've talked to really haven't had tremendous experiences there. All right, now suburb number 3 on our list is a suburb that gets very little attention on this YouTube channel, and I don't know why, because I love it, and that is Bastrop. Okay, so Bastrop, which it's spelled Bastrop, like B-A-S-T-R-O-P. Bastrop is about 30 to 35 miles east of Austin. And I know I keep bringing up Georgetown, but I already told you it's my favorite suburb in Austin. Bastrop kind of reminds me of like the eastern Georgetown suburb of Austin. Does that make sense, what I just said? It reminds me of a Georgetown of the East. Is that a better way to put it? So very similar to Georgetown, it's got a river that runs right through the middle of downtown. It's the Colorado River. It runs out of Austin and right through the middle of Bastrop. It's got a super quaint, historic, very quintessential downtown, full of like bustling mom and pop shops, cafes, restaurants, things like that. I just think Bastrop has a lot of character. And one of the things I really love about it is Bastrop State Park. So Bastrop State Park is super slept on. Can I say that as a 40-year-old?
Yeah.
It's slept on.
It felt natural to me.
Thanks, Aaron.
You didn't flinch when you said it.
I'm like, I'm doing it. So anyway, Bastrop State Park is super slept on. I've been there several times. And I can't believe more people in Texas don't talk about Bastrop State Park. It's got these crazy, tall, beautiful, majestic pine trees. And it's gorgeous out there. So there's lots of hiking that's available in Bastrop. And another thing that like we have to talk about with Bastrop is the affordability. Like I would say, if you considered Bastrop a true suburb of Austin, I would probably say it is the most affordable suburb of Austin. There are several now master plan communities out there where you can get a decent house in the mid 300s. There's also a lot of opportunities in Bastrop where you can get a lot of acreage on like super scenic land for not terrible prices. So Bastrop is gonna be for people who want to be in an area that's close to Austin, but they want a lot of elbow room. They wanna be able to breathe easy and just have a way more relaxed lifestyle. Now, something to be aware of with Bastrop, and some people love this and some people hate this, what I'm about to say, is it feels probably also like the most rural suburb of Austin. And so I have also heard of, several people who've moved out to Bastrop. They're like, I'm done with this city life and I wanna go live out in the country. And then they go live out there and they're like, oh, this is like out in the country. And there just are not as many modern conveniences like there are in a lot of the other Austin suburbs. So there's a lot to love about it, but that's definitely something that you're gonna wanna keep in mind. Number 4 on our list today is Round Rock, okay? So Round Rock is a North Austin suburb just south of Georgetown. And people love Round Rock primarily because of the schools. But secondly, I would say lots of outdoor activities. And third, I shouldn't say tons, a few really amazing master plan communities where you can get homes touching distance to Austin for really great prices. Okay, so first let's talk about the schools. So if you're living in Round Rock, your kids are gonna be zoned to Round Rock ISD. And Round Rock ISD is one of the top 5 school districts in all of Central Texas. And I will tell you, 3 of the other 5 school districts, you have to pay well over $1 million for your home. But in Round Rock, you don't have to pay nearly that. I think last time I checked, the average home price in Round Rock was about $375,000 to be in one of the top 5 school districts in Central Texas. So like unanimously, everyone I talk to, one of our clients who moves out to Round Rock, when I follow up with them about it, they're just like, we love it. Our kids' teachers are amazing. The schools are amazing. Like, we are over the moon about Round Rock ISD. So that's the #1 driver to that area. And it's one of the reasons that it is one of my favorite 7 suburbs in Austin. All right, and another thing that people love about Round Rock, I love about Round Rock, is there's so much for kids to do and there's so much for adults to do. So people who live in Round Rock love to be outdoors. There are lots of great parks, like Old Settlers Park is this massive park. They got, soccer fields, playgrounds, baseball fields. There's like a cricket court, cricket field. I don't know what you call it, cricket thing, but you can play cricket out there if you wanted to. You got the Round Rock Express. It's like the feeder team to the Texas Rangers professional baseball team. There's Kalahari. It's the biggest indoor water park in the world. There's just so much stuff for kids to do, and that is a reason that people absolutely love Round Rock. And then you got the neighborhoods, like, come on, like Round Rock has an embarrassment of riches in terms of great master plan communities. You got Terra Vista, Paloma Lake, Forest Creek, Cat Hollow, like so many other neighborhoods that are just like ridiculous. So if you're watching this and you're like, man, I think I might be interested in one of these places, like, it is overwhelming to research this stuff by yourself. So just go ahead, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, and our team would absolutely love to connect with you and figure out which one of these suburbs is best for you, but not just that, like which community in which suburb would be perfect for you. And something you're gonna wanna be aware of as a buyer or as a future homeowner in Round Rock, and I hate that I keep having to bring this up, but it's the traffic. So in Round Rock, you gotta be on Interstate 35 going in and out of Austin at some point. And if you're at all even close to rush hour or even outside of rush hour sometimes, like it can be absolutely excruciating. So I do think Round Rock can be perfect for you if you work outside of orthodox typical business hours, or you just absolutely love being in the car and you're like an audiobook podcast addict or something, or if you can work remotely and like working from home is an option for you and you don't have to go into downtown, in and out of downtown Austin too often. And number 5 on the list is the suburb of Lakeway, and I'm actually gonna add on the area of Bee Cave to that, okay? So very similar to, guess what? Georgetown. Growing up, like seriously coming to Austin all the time, like I literally thought Lakeway was a retirement community. Like I thought Lakeway was the name of a resort that was only for retired people in West Austin. And I can remember whenever I first got into real estate, early 2014, and I worked with some clients, a young family, had a couple young kids, and they wanted to go look out in Lakeway at their home. And I was like, Lakeway? Like, why do you want to go out to Lakeway? That's for retired people. And they were like, Barrett, aren't you in real estate? Anyway, and so we drove out to Lakeway and I was freaking shocked. Like, I guess I had never been there. I drove out there and it's like, the hills are incredible. Like, I've only spent a limited amount of time in California, but it reminds me of driving out in like the LA hills, canyons, Hollywood hills. And maybe you might think I'm totally dumb for saying that, but that was my experience, okay? Don't argue with my experience. And another thing that's great about Lakeway, I mean, it's in the name, Lakeway. Like you have super easy access to the lake. Like there are lake access points like all over Lakeway. And so you don't have to live in a resort community or like in a super gated luxury community to have access to the lake. They kind of want it to be open to everybody. And also if you're living out in Lakeway, you have access to some really world-class amenities. First, you've got the Hill Country Galleria, which is kind of like the domain of West Austin. So it's a lot of cool, it's almost like an upscale luxury outlet mall. You got Whole Foods, which is a super nice kind of upscale grocery store. There's also a really great H-E-B out in Lakeway. And I know this might sound kind of random, but maybe this is kind of a vestige of like me thinking that Lakeway was a retirement community, but there's really great top tier like medical infrastructure in Lakeway. So you are never gonna have to really drive into Austin for your medical needs. And they've got great kind of general practitioners, surgeons, specialists, things like that. So that's a really great feature of the area. Now, for me, apart from being on the lake and apart from it being super beautiful, one of the reasons that I would put it on my list of best Austin suburbs is the schools. So people who live in Lakeway, your kids are gonna be zoned to Lake Travis ISD. And I wanna say Lake Travis, it might be number 2 or 3 in terms of school rankings and school ratings in the greater Central Texas area. They have amazing sports teams, like a lot of professional athletes went to Lake Travis ISD, and so the people out there are super, super proud of their school system. Now, a couple things you're gonna wanna be aware of as a buyer out there is number one, it's not exactly the most affordable area. You know, whereas like Round Rock, you're gonna pay $375, $380, something like that for the average single family home. But out in Lakeway, you're probably gonna be paying closer to that like $600,000 to $800,000 range. You can easily get way into the millions, and there are more affordable options out there. But typically like $600,000 to $800,000 is what you're gonna pay for like a run-of-the-mill, simple 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. And if you've got access to the lake or like a beautiful view, that price can increase dramatically very quickly. And another thing that you need to know, this is just a bonus tip from Barrett, is that the road 620 that goes in and out of Austin from Lakeway, there's really only one way to get in and out, and it's 620, and that road is awful. Like literally, if someone has a flat tire on that road, everyone behind that person, you're gonna wanna add 30 to 40 minutes to your commute easily, and it is infuriating. Suburb number 6 on our list is none other than Leander. Okay, so Leander is in the northwest of Austin, and it's probably, I'd say about 20, 25 miles northwest of Austin. It's just past Cedar Park, just west of Georgetown. And look, there's no two ways about it. People love Leander because of the schools, okay? The schools are amazing. That's another one of those school systems that's like, just like Round Rock, where it's one of the top 5 school districts in Central Texas. And the prices there are dramatically lower than a Lake Travis ISD or an Eanes ISD. And the average price point in Leander is gonna be kind of right smack in the middle of the 400s, but you can get way up into the millions if you're in a neighborhood like Treviso. Leander is great for anybody really, but especially families who want good schools, affordable prices, you want safety, and you want all the amenities that a world-class suburb has to offer. So my team has helped a ton of people move out to Leander, and they absolutely adore it. So if you're considering any of these areas, definitely let us know. We want to hook up with you, hear about a couple things that you love, a couple things that you hate, so that we can point you in the right direction. Now, in terms of Leander, I would say a couple things to be aware of is that there is a lot of construction going on, okay? You got areas like Cedar Park just south of Leander that boomed. However, there's like no land left to build on that isn't like a nature preserve. That is not the case in Leander. Leander has a lot of room to grow, so if you're gonna move there, you're probably gonna love it. The schools are gonna be great, but you're gonna need to get used to a lot of construction, a lot of nails on the street, a lot of construction noise for a very long time. And I have to say it, the commute in and out of Austin is terrible. You have to go on Highway 183. I know I'm saying that about like all of these suburbs, but you can't avoid it. If you want to get to Austin, you have to go south on Highway 183, and especially during rush hour, it's freaking awful. All right, last but not least, the 7th suburb on our list of the best suburbs in Austin, Texas is where we're at right now, and that is Kyle. So I freaking love Kyle. Okay, we're sitting here right now, we're right in the middle of downtown, and it is so cute. It's like bustling, I would say it's like bustling, but it's not busy. And so actually, there have been a few years over the last decade where Kyle was actually named as the #1 fastest growing town in all of the United States. And I think that is absolutely crazy. And I think that's mostly, in my opinion, because this video is about my opinion, all right? My opinion is because you got affordable prices out here. It is cute. You can have a really cute downtown out here. You're touching distance to Austin in the north. You're touching distance to San Marcos and San Antonio in the south. And there are so many great master plan communities all around this area. Like, don't even get me started. You got Crosswinds, you got Anthem, you got Six Creeks. It's absurd, okay? And that is just the tip of the iceberg. So like in our experience, like when we have clients who watch us on YouTube, just like you're doing right now, and they reach out and they're like, Barrett, I do wanna move to Texas. I do wanna move to the Austin area. Here's my budget. And we come out and we look at houses out here in Kyle, and they see what you are gonna see, what you can get for your money out here. And it is like mind blowing. And another thing I think that's like really important that a lot of people don't know about Kyle until they have lived here for a while is the community here is like very tight knit, and the people here are very proud of being from Kyle. And I'm gonna tell you right now, the last time Aaron and I were out here filming in Kyle, we actually stopped at the Texas Pie Company right across the street here. And Aaron, was that not the most life-changing pie you've ever had in your entire life?
Not only like was it really good pie, but the sandwiches that we had were
Yes, dude, we had sandwiches. They were so good. And so yeah, there's just like over the last several years in Kyle, there really has been this resurgence of like local boutique shops, restaurants, cafes, bars and things like that. There's just so many things to do outside. And even just like the city of Kyle has a lot of really cool events and quirky things that they do. I always talk about this when I talk about Kyle, but actually every year on May the 4th, it's Star Wars Day, you know, like May the 4th be with you. The city council members in Kyle actually dress up like Star Wars characters. Like, bro, how cool is that?
pretty sick.
So in Kyle, you might have really loud fire trucks.
Great city.
Great city. Look at that. City servants right there. But no, seriously, one thing that I would kind of think through if you're thinking about moving here, apart from the commute, again, if you think of yourself as living in Austin, but you really live in Kyle, I don't think you're gonna love it. You really have to invest in this community here. But just like Leander, Kyle has exploded in growth. And so with that does come some kind of infrastructure growing pains, right? So in certain spots, you're gonna be like, why is there traffic in this intersection? There should not be any traffic in this intersection, but it's because like the traffic engineering just hasn't really caught up to the population growth here. You're also gonna be experiencing, just like Leander, a lot of construction kind of congestion, and so that's definitely something that you should know before you move out here. So those are the 7 best suburbs of Austin, Texas. And if you want to see full tours of these areas, check out our full suburb tours playlist right here.